Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. I hope everything in your world is okay in this still very strange world in which we live. Today I have a slightly different video for you in that I haven't made it in advance. So who knows what's going to go wrong. Anyway, I want to do some watercolouring, well, a watercolour background. And there's a number of reasons for this. A, I love it, but also some people may have just received some of the new water painters. So I thought I would just show them to you and then make something with them. This is the one I'm actually going to use today. So they come in a set of 3 and you get a large brush, a mini brush, and they will have these lovely caps which really do keep everything neat, and this wide brush. And this is the one I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be showing you a few tips and tricks with this one in particular. The first thing I just want to mention, and I think I may have mentioned this before, is, let me bring out, have I got to hand an old aqua painter? Yes. So these are our old aqua painters, and they're fine. You don't get the extra wide brush, but to fill them up, you turn them anti-clockwise, fill them up just with regular water, and then turn them anti-clockwise to put them back on. These are slightly different. You turn them clockwise to undo them, and anti-clockwise to do them up. Now, I had nearly broken my wrist trying to get this off before I worked out that the screw actually went the other way. So I thought I would share that with you, just in case it saves you something. Now, they do all have the same barrel, so if, like me, you fill up all 3 barrels and then start using just one and you run out of water halfway through, you can just switch out the barrels and then just fill them all up in one go. I don't have a tap near me. Well, no, that's not strictly true. I do have a tap near me. My studio is at the back of our garage. It's a room at the back of the garage, and there is a tap. It's the outdoor garden tap, which is fine in the summer, not so great in the winter. Anywho, so I am going to do some watercolouring, and I'm going to be using Bermuda Bay. So I need to squeeze my lid. I'm going to be using Magenta Madness. Just want to check that I haven't got pools of ink already in there. So squeeze the lid for that. And Gorgeous Grape. So those are my colours, which are a bit odd, I know. Well, I don't think they are. Actually, I specifically chose them because they're bright. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is actually just clear the decks a bit. I've got an old spritzer, stamp cleaner spritzer, and it's just got water in, and I'm just going to get a good amount of water down onto my, this is shimmery white card, and I'm doing it on both sides because if you do both sides, your card will lay flat. If you only do it one side, you'll find that it will bow, but if you do it both sides, it will stay flat. Now this craft sheet, that's the word I'm looking for, actually it's an oven liner, isn't terribly clean, I've discovered, and it's already showing that it's not terribly clean. So let me just clean up some of the coloured ink that is around there, because I don't really want coloured ink on my card that isn't the colour I want. Now it's already, the card is already getting dry. So the first colour I want to do is Magenta Madness, because that's the one I want in the middle. So actually I want a bit more ink than that. So just squeeze your ink pad together, and if you've got a re-inker, I don't have a Magenta Madness re-inker yet. Being in Europe, we don't have them yet because of the customs issues in Germany. They are on their way, we just don't know when they're going to arrive. But yes, if you've got a re-inker, you can just put re-inker in the lid of your ink pad rather than squeezing the ink pad together. Now I'm deliberately going on a slight diagonal, and I want it really wet. Now, to clean your brush, just squeeze water onto the nib, for want of a better word, and just wipe it on a piece of kitchen paper. And I'm going to show you a trick with that in a moment, but I want to carry on before things dry out too much. So I just want to add a bit more water, because this end is going dry. So, gorgeous grape, and I want it to kind of blend a bit. And I might do a bit of tipping to see if that encourages it a bit. And a bit of, that's better. Little bit of running. And then again, just run some water onto your the brush, and that gets it clean. And the other end is not too bad. So again, add some more water just by squeezing and fill in. Now, don't worry that your liquid ink is going to get onto your ink pad, because this is the base of the ink pad, so long as you keep it the right way up, this will have a chance to dry before the foam gets anywhere near it. Right, okay, so all I've done is put the foam down so that it's hanging. If you tipped it over, then you might end up with water going in where you don't want it. Now, this is obviously going to take rather a long time to dry, so what I'm also going to show you is how to get this clean. Now, I discovered this by mistake. Let's see if I can just move this out of the way a tiny bit. There we go. So, yes, I discovered this by mistake. I was actually trying to get the barrel off the brush again. This comes off, and that's what turns it into a flat brush. But it's actually not a flat brush, it's a pointed brush. So it's a very, 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 very big version of these, which means that if you're worried that ink starts coming up into the nib bit, or the feeder bit, so to get this back on, you just put all the bristles back in place, which when it's wet is very easy, and just push that in and it clicks into place. So you could find that you've got ink coming into this area, which is fine because you can just pull the top off and just press more water through, and it just cleans that all up. So really not a problem. I have found that the bristles, for want of a better word, do stain a wee bit, but not much, and they do eventually come clean, and it is stain, not dirt. And you know my thing, stain is just clean dirt. There's dirty dirt and there's clean dirt. So as I say, just get your bristles flat, pop them back into there, and you've got your nice flat brush again. So really handy to know that you can either have a very, very large pointy brush or a flat brush, and that this comes off. And remember, you unscrew it the wrong way round. So if you can't unscrew it one way, try the other way, and you never know what might happen. So this I'm going to pop to one side. It is going to take a long time to dry. But in true Blue Peter fashion, gosh, it's a while since I've said that, here's one I prepared earlier. Now, the colours have all faded back a bit because they were dilute. So that's absolutely what I was expecting. The stamp set I'm going to use is Zany Zebras, which is kind of taking the world by storm. It is just so cute. It's in both the annual catalogue but also in the beginner brochure. So let me find it for you in the beginner brochure, and it's here. I've put a note for myself also in the annual. And if you wanted to make these samples, they've even given you a product list. And if you use the code here, you will get the stamp set, the block, the cardstock, the Memento ink pads, the watercolour pencils and dimensionals. So you'll get everything on that list just with that one code. And that one code will get you one bonus day voucher if you order it between now and the 3rd of August. August. So let's stamp a zebra and get that out of the way. I've already got my stamp mounted up on my D block. I'm using this little chappy here and, surprise, surprise, Memento ink. Because why wouldn't you? Because it's a zebra, so they're black and white. They don't have to be black and white, but mine are going to be black and white. And just press that down. Now, do give it quite a decent press. This is just Whisper White card. And that's another point that I just need to talk to you about. If you're using shimmer white cardstock and you're not doing an all-over colour, you're going to want to use shimmer white cardstock for anything else that isn't covered with paint or blends or Stampin' Write markers, because it's not quite white. This is white. Let's use that as white. That's white, and this is shimmer white. And if we use, of course I'm not going to have any available, am I? Oh, no, that's shimmer white as well. I was going to try and find some very vanilla. I have a very vanilla envelope. So it's not white and it's not very vanilla. It is its own colour. So if you're going to use shimmer white and be specific about where you're doing stuff, or you've got this sort of effect where you've got plain in the middle and colour somewhere else or the other way around, do use shimmer white rather than white or vanilla, because otherwise it'll look very odd. It will just not look right. Now I'm going to fussy cut this, but here's one I prepared earlier. I've done lots of videos with me fussy cutting, and I just thought we would save a wee bit of time by fussy cutting it in advance. So all I have ready is my stamped piece, my zebra, and that's it. But I have a plan. It's possibly going to work. It would work more if I could actually find one of the things that I had in my plan kit. Oh, I buried it. So I have a small strip of basic black, and I thought I would have Wild About You as my sentiment. So I'm going to pull that out. There we go. And I'm going to mount that on my C block. And I've still got my embossing buddy, and I'm still going to be using it because I don't want my embossing going in odd places. I've got my Versamark ink pad, which I've recently re-inked, and just blow any excess powder away and stamp and come up, and then grab my white Stamp Emboss powder, and there we go. And I always like to do 2 dabbles just in case the first one doesn't take totally. It's just a habit I've got into. I'm not sure it makes that much difference. Certainly with a small thing, I don't think it makes that much difference. And then I'm going to grab my heat gun. Now, while my heat gun is heating up, let me remind you that if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that anytime during the video just by hitting the subscribe button, which is about there. It makes a real difference to me if you do subscribe, because it does things to the YouTube analytics, or algorithm rather. And also if you like my video and leave a comment, that also does things for the algorithm. It makes it feel wanted, and that's what we want it to do. So I'm just going to heat my embossing. Doesn't take long, and that's it done. Now, I always say this, but do wait until your embossing is dry, because it does actually become molten, and when it's molten, it will smudge. Now, I am then going to take my snips and cut the words apart. Like that. And I'm going to leave them that size. I'm not even going to trim them down anymore. And I'm going to bring in my little chappy. And let's see, wild about you. Yeah, I think that sort of works. I may introduce some ribbon. Now I could use the Magenta Madness, or I could use the purple tricolour ribbon, but I think I like the Magenta Madness. Let me just pop that back. The only other one that might work, and as I say, I haven't planned this at all. Oh, actually, there's two that might work. No, that's not the one I wanted. That can go back. That's not the one I wanted either. No, I keep picking up the same reel of ribbon. That's the one I wanted. I could use this, which is Coastal Cabana, or I could use this, which is Purple Posy. I quite like the Coastal Cabana, actually. Now that is from memory, Playing with Patterns. In fact, I'm absolutely certain it's from Playing with Patterns, which is what the Purple Posy is from as well. Now, in Europe, the in-colour ribbons were out of stock. They are now back in stock. What is still out of stock is the Forever Greenery, but they are expected in soon, I hope. Yeah, I quite like... I might put it over... I might do that way up. I mean, not that way up, obviously. I might do that way up and have that there. Yes. So, this is almost like a live video. I mean, it's clearly not. It's recorded on the most dull summer's day that I could imagine. I mean, it's dull. I've got long sleeves on. I'm determinedly keeping my shorts on. They are long shorts, not short shorts, but I am keeping them on because I'm not going to give up. It is supposed to be July. Now, have I got a piece of... No, that was inevitable. Basic black. See, I told you it wasn't planned. Is that going to be big enough? Yes. So, I am going to just trim that down to my normal size, which is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. I think it probably is already 3 7/8. I think I just gave up partway through cutting mats. Yep. This I'm actually going to cut down a wee bit. This was the size that gives a very, very narrow margin round, but I'm going to cut it down a wee bit more, as much as anything, so I can get rid of any of the kind of dirty edge. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off each side, so that each side has a clean cut. If I had only taken 1/4 of an inch off each side, which is basically what I'm aiming to do, I would have ended up with some sides with a nice clean cut. I don't want to go down properly. There we go. Some sides with a nice clean cut and some sides with a nasty cut. And I don't want a nasty cut. And I'll show you what I mean, hopefully. So, actually this is the best one to show you. So if I put this on black, can you see that that's got a little bit of colour running? So by trimming the edge, if you look at this side, it's nice and clean. So this has nice clean edges all the way around now. If you're doing watercolour, it is worth just bearing that in mind. So I've now got a nice big margin all the way around. So I've got 1/8 of an inch more than I was going to, so about 3/16 of an inch. I will have the dimensions over on my website, do not fear. Now, I want this popped up, but this is wobbly. So what I'm going to have to do is use more dimensionals than I would normally. I'm using black because it's going on black. I was very unkind recently. Well, I wasn't unkind. My tongue was firmly in my cheek. I was watching a video that the wonderful Bruno Bertucci, Kylie Bertucci's husband, put on YouTube. And I left a comment asking him just how many sheets of dimensionals he got through in a day. Because he was basically doing what I'm now doing, which really isn't needed most of the time. But seriously, this is what he was doing as a normal use of dimensionals. And I just couldn't believe it. I am doing it, but I'm doing it for a reason. Normally I would put 3 down each side, 1 in each, so 3, 1 across in each corner, and then bump, bump, 1 in the middle of each of those groups. It's what you all you actually need if you're dealing with a piece of paper that hasn't just been drowned, which is, let's face it, basically what has happened to this paper. Right, now of course what I've forgotten to do is stick my ribbon on, because I want my ribbon to only go around this piece of card, but it's fine because I left a gap. Unplanned, but I left a gap. So a glue dot on each end of my ribbon, and I want it on the Bermuda Bay area. So what I'm actually going to do, because it'll be easiest, is stick it down one side, bring it across, line up the end of my piece of card on my grid paper, and I can see where that ribbon is in relation to the lines. Don't need that much ribbon. Let me just cut it off and use another. I'll use another glue dot. So I can line it up against the grid paper, and that way I know it's going to be straight even though I'm doing it from the back. So I want to be slightly up from this line here, and there we are, a nice straight piece of ribbon. And then just give it a bit of a bend just to help it flatten out. Now, if you ever need to bring something up, a little bit of a twist helps with basically any adhesive. Just getting it in the right place first is a good start. That's better. And then I'll press it from the back, that way I won't catch the ribbon. Like that. And then I'm going to grab... Ooh, should we go really wild? Shall we? Shall we? I think maybe not. I think we might go Gorgeous Grape, assuming I have a Gorgeous Grape mat. Which of course I don't. Ooh, I wonder. Nope. Okay, so Gorgeous Grape card base coming up. I did tell you I hadn't planned this, and I wasn't lying. So this is going to end up as a bit more of a tutorial than I had intended, but whether your cardstock is letter or A4 size, if you're doing top folding cards, score your card in half before you cut it. That way you only have to cut it once. So I can now come in and just cut that, and I've now got 2 card bases and I've only had to score once and cut once. Otherwise you have to score once, cut once, score again. So let's do that. And that's better, and then I'll be a happy girl. Right, now I'm going to use liquid adhesive because I want a really good coverage on the back. You could use Stamping Seal or Stamping Seal Plus, which would definitely flatten it out, but I am a real fan of our liquid adhesive, particularly when I can get it out of the bottle. Much more than I would normally use, but I am trying to keep everything, or get everything flat. And again, I'm going to press from the back. And now we can stick our little chap on. And I am going to make this a large letter, definitely large letter card, because I'm going to use dimensionals on my zebra as well. And I'm going to use small, mini, just on his leg down there. So let's take that off. And, whoops, apparently not get rid of my dimensional bases. Pop him onto my card. And then I want, well, there's going to be small enough. No, let's use small black. Whoops, I've got dimensionals flying everywhere now. So let's turn those over and pop one on the back of each of my words. And then about. Come on. Wild. You. Now for the inside, I don't like having nothing on the inside. I often wait for a sentiment until I know whether it's a birthday card or whatever, but I certainly want something on the inside, so I'm going to grab my Memento ink pad again and ink up my zebra. I'm just going to ink up the top and have a little head down at the bottom of my card. Pop my scrap paper away. I've just changed grid paper, so I'm trying to keep it nice and clean. Oops. Every now and again I forget to break the tape properly. I just do a little kind of backwards on myself. So it's a gentle touch and then a kind of little backwards, and that breaks the tape really nicely, ready to be used again, mostly. And this we're going to pop on the inside, and I've just had another, oops, gubby on me. There we go. So there's our card. I'm just wondering whether we could add some... No, I think that... Oh, I know what we can add. I know what we can add. My absolute favourite embellishments of the moment, which are the elegant faceted gems. And the reason I like these is, let me show you. So we'll have one, no we won't have it there, that's a very unfortunate place to put anything. We'll have one there, and we'll have one there, and we'll have another large one just there. Now the reason I love these is they pick up the colour of the background. So you can use them on everything. It's genius. Obviously these are the clear ones, so you get clear, you get white, and you get petal pink. The white you can actually use on very vanilla and on white, and it will just mould to whichever you use. The petal pink, let me see if I can get that off. The petal pink are definitely petal pink, but these, I mean, they just add some glitter, and rather than rhinestones, which also add silver, they just add glitter. So, and it was so long that my camera ran out. Anyway, so thank you very much indeed for watching me. If you've enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave those in the just below the description bar. There'll be close-ups and all that good stuff over on my website, and the link to that is also immediately below in the description bar. Thank you very much indeed. Do remember, if you are in the UK and you wish to shop with me, I would be thrilled. I have a really nice customer reward program. Information about that's on my website. If you are shopping, don't remember you will get bonus days vouchers for every £45 you spend. Please, if you're getting two, don't get the starter kit instead. It will save you much more in the long run. Thank you very much indeed. Have a fantastic day, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!